Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting code reviews and direction as a freelancer. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Fredrik, I am a self-taught developer and I do mostly freelance work, but I feel like I need to get some direction on the sort of projects that I should be making, and the sort of feedback that I need is from code reviews and working with coworkers. How can I achieve this? So the short answer here is that if you don't do professional grade software development in a team, you should try to be part of the open source community. And the reason is very simple, because as this person has this person has identified something that is very important, and that is that if you want to progress and really make some headway in your career, it is a lot easier to do that if you have some form of direction. Because the thing is, if you only make your own projects, if you only pick whatever you want, odds are that you're going to go very easy on yourself in many cases. And this happens very often, where a person makes portfolio sites and each portfolio site is literally the same thing as the previous portfolio site. It's the same application, it's the same level of complexity, it's just a different theme color or something like that. And that's one of the biggest differences between just doing hobby programming and doing programming professionally. In a professional environment, you don't set the requirements, the stakeholder does, and that means that you are forced to learn whatever it takes in order to achieve the goal of the project. That's not the situation when you have your own project. There you can change the scope, you can change you can change anything just to accommodate the fact that you don't know something or something of this nature, right? That's one part of it. The other part that this person has identified is the value of peer reviews or code reviews, where in order for you to actually know if you're getting better at writing maintainable software and easy to understand software, well, it's hard for you to know that just by yourself. You need a little bit of feedback there. So since this person is self-taught or learning by themselves, the only place that you can really go to get that sort of feedback is the open source community. So what I highly recommend that you do is that you look at one of the more serious projects that are out there. It's important that you have at least a few contributors. Ideally, the people who work on this project should have themselves professional grade software experience, because what you don't want is to end up working on some very small library that does something very, very trivial, and then maybe that's like you and one other person who themselves are freelancers or self-taught people who don't have any experience working in a real IT company or in a really professional environment. The reason why this is so important is because as a freelancer, it's very likely that, well, not necessarily as a freelancer, but as somebody who may never have worked as part of a development team or something like that, they don't actually know how to structure an IT project in a professional manner. And that's the thing that you need as the person who's going to learn, because all these different reviews and CI pipelines and like how to think about documentation, how to think about backwards compatibility, releases, like all of this stuff, and versioning and so forth. All these sorts of things are very important things that you learn when you work in a professional environment. And if you can find a project where people who actually have done this are kind of part of the process, they will very naturally start to put these processes in place, and you will learn from them. The other part of this that is very useful is that most of the people who are part of the open source community, they are very nice people. So when it comes to learning, getting guidance and a sense of direction with how you should structure your career, this is a very good place to find that sort of feedback. You can network in the open source community. It's a great way to show off your skills, and it's also a great way to get to know people that can mentor you if if you start helping out and you get to know some people, and you're socially nice and like all of this good stuff, it's very likely that they will be open to giving you some pointers on finding jobs or what you should improve or things like that. It's a very good forum for that sort of thing. And the best part about this sort of thing is that this is one of the most surefire ways for you to add something to your CV, because if you are helping out on a bunch of different projects that you're involved in, and ideally if they're a little bit, they don't have to be famous like, I don't know, Vue or Angular or something like that, but if they're just known to some people, this is something that will definitely be worth putting on your CV. Like just working on any serious open source project is, that's equivalent. This is the thing that I've talked to you a few times about before. This is proof that you care about programming and that you're pretty good at it. It's probably one of the best things you can do apart from running your own startup or something like that, your own one-person company. So working with an open source project is a very good thing to put on your CV, and it definitely is a proof that you know what you're doing. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you are like this person who reached out and you're self-taught and or you're just doing freelance work or anything like that, then you will absolutely notice that you lack some of the feedback that you get from working in a group. It's very important, I would say, overall, that a fledgling or like a fresh programmer who is in the start of their career gets to be around other programmers. That feedback cycle and the networking is invaluable. So if you want to get to a point where you can get that without actually doing professional grade software development in a place of work, then doing open source community related programming is a very, very good thing. And the best part about it, apart from it being probably the closest thing to working for a real IT company that you're going to get outside of that sort of environment, is that it's something that really stands out on your CV. And it's also something that will grow you as a developer, just not only code-wise, but also socially, because you will interact with people in a very similar manner as to how you will interact with people in a place of work. You will face the same sort of thing, assuming, of course, that you're working on a serious open source project, not some one-star little project that does something very trivial. Ideally, it should have a little bit of recognition and a few contributors, because that is the thing that will most accurately reflect how you're going to work in the actual workplace. Have a great day.